I remember the exact moment I realized it was over, not with a dramatic argument or a sudden confession, but a quiet, almost imperceptible shift in the way we looked at each other. It was like a slow fade, the colors draining from the world we had built together until all that remained was a shadow of what once was. We met in the spring, when everything was blooming and the air smelled of possibility. At first, it was effortless, laughs shared under the sun, hands brushing, eyes locking with a spark that promised forever. I was convinced that this was it, the kind of love stories are made of. But love, I learned, isn't just about the bright moments. It's also about the spaces in between, the silences that grow heavier, the words left unsaid, and the slow drifting apart that no one wants to admit is happening. Our conversations grew shorter, filled with pauses that felt like chasms. I tried to reach out, to bridge the distance, but every attempt felt like pushing against a wall that kept getting thicker and colder. There was a night when I sat up late, staring at the ceiling, wondering if he even thought about me anymore. The ache in my chest was sharp, a physical reminder that love, once so vibrant, could become a ghost haunting the spaces we once shared. I remember the way his smile used to light up the room, and how it slowly dimmed like a candle burning too close to the wind. The warmth that used to fill our days became a chill that crept in without warning. Sometimes I caught glimpses of the boy I fell for, the flicker of kindness in his eyes, the softness in his touch, but they were fleeting, like echoes from a distant past, teasing me with what was lost. I wrote letters I never sent, pouring out every feeling, every regret, every hope for a reconciliation that seemed more and more impossible with each passing day. The words sat in drawers, silent witnesses to a love unraveling. He stopped sharing his dreams with me the way he used to when we first met. The future we planned together faded into a fog of uncertainty, leaving me grasping at fragments that slipped through my fingers like sand. One evening, I found myself standing outside his apartment, my heart pounding, a mix of fear and desperation swirling inside me. I wanted to knock, to say something that would make things right, but my hands trembled and I walked away instead. The final conversation was awkward and strained, filled with half-truths and forced smiles. We said goodbye like strangers, though once we had known each other so intimately that silence meant everything. In the aftermath, I wandered through our favorite places alone, haunted by memories that seemed to echo off the empty benches and quiet corners. Each spot carried a story, a piece of us that now felt like someone else's. I kept replaying moments in my mind, wondering if I had missed any signs, any chances to save us. The what-ifs became a relentless song, a soundtrack to the loss I couldn't undo. Friends offered comfort, but their words felt hollow against the storm inside me. How do you explain losing someone who once felt like the center of your universe? Sleep became elusive, dreams haunted by images of what we were and what we might have been. I woke up with tears still wet on my cheeks, the pain raw and unyielding. I found solace in writing, letting the words pour out in bursts of emotion, trying to make sense of the chaos that love's end had left behind. Each sentence was a step toward healing, even if the destination was unclear. Sometimes I caught myself hoping for a miracle, a chance to turn back time and fix the cracks before they widened into chasms. But life doesn't work that way, and I had to face the truth that some loves are meant to be lost. I started to notice the small things again, the way the sun filters through the trees, the sound of rain tapping on the window, reminders that life continues even when your heart feels broken. Slowly, I began to rebuild pieces of myself that had been overshadowed by us. It was scary and uncertain, but with each step, I felt a flicker of hope flicker back to life. There were days when the sadness hit like a tidal wave, overwhelming and suffocating, but I learned to let it wash over me without letting it drown me. It was part of the journey, the cost of loving deeply. I found strength in unexpected places, in the quiet moments of reflection, in the support of friends, and even in the memories that once hurt but now held lessons. Sometimes I wonder if he feels the same emptiness, the same ache for what was lost. Maybe he's walking through his own shadows, trying to find light again. The truth is, love doesn't always end with fireworks or dramatic declarations. Sometimes it slips away softly, leaving behind a silence that speaks volumes. I carry the love we had like a fragile treasure, tender, bittersweet, and irreplaceable. It shaped me, even as it slipped through my fingers like a fading melody. The hardest part is accepting that some chapters close without a neat conclusion, leaving stories unfinished and hearts yearning for closure that may never come. But even in the loss, there is a strange beauty, a reminder that to love is to be brave, to risk everything for a chance at connection, no matter the outcome. I hold on to that courage now, the same that made me open my heart once, hoping that one day it will lead me to a love that stays. Until then, I walk forward, carrying the echoes of what was, learning to live with the love that was lost but never forgotten. Some nights I still hear his laughter like a ghost in the wind, and it stings in the most beautiful and painful way. It's a reminder that what we had was real, even if it couldn't last. I catch myself smiling at memories that once brought tears, finding light in the shadows of the past. It's a delicate balance, honoring what was without being trapped by it. The more time passes, the more I realize love is less about holding on tightly and more about learning when to let go, even when it hurts like hell. Every scar, every tear, every sleepless night has woven itself into the fabric of who I am now. I'm different, changed, but still whole in ways I never imagined. Sometimes I wonder if he ever thinks of me the way I think of him, like a beautiful chapter that ended too soon, a story unfinished but forever cherished. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know that this love, though lost, was a gift, a lesson in vulnerability, in hope, and in the raw power of connection. At times, I feel the emptiness, the space where he used to be, and it's like an ache that won't quite fade. But I'm learning to sit with that ache, to let it teach me about resilience. I'm not sure if I'll ever find a love that feels quite the same, but maybe that's okay. Maybe love is unique each time, and every ending makes space for a new beginning. For now, I carry the memories gently, like fragile glass, beautiful, reflective, and a little bit dangerous if handled carelessly. Sometimes the nights are hardest, the quiet hours when the world sleeps and my thoughts run wild, chasing shadows of what might have been. I find myself reaching for my phone, tempted to send a message, to break the silence, but then I stop, reminding myself that some silences are necessary for healing. The streets we walk together feel different now, like ghosts of footsteps echoing in a place that no longer belongs to us both. I try to surround myself with new experiences, new faces, but sometimes the past sneaks in through cracks I didn't even know existed. There's a bittersweetness in nostalgia, sweet because of the love that was, bitter because of its absence now. It's a complicated feeling, one I'm still learning to navigate. I sometimes catch myself talking to the empty space beside me, imagining what he might say, how he might respond, as if rehearsing a conversation that will never happen. In the quiet moments, I ask myself if I did enough, if I loved enough, if I was enough. The questions swirl with no clear answers, only the echo of uncertainty. But maybe that's the nature of love, not perfection, but effort, risk, and the willingness to be vulnerable even when it scares you. I've learned that sometimes love means letting go, even if it feels like tearing your soul in two. It's the hardest lesson, but maybe the most important. The seasons change, and with them, the pain softens just a little. Spring still comes, even after winter's harshest cold, reminding me that renewal is possible. I've started to believe in the possibility of new love, not as a replacement, but as a continuation, a new story waiting to be written with lessons learned. Yet a part of me will always carry the imprint of what was, a love so deep it reshaped the way I see the world and my place in it. And so I walk forward, step by step, heart bruised but beating, learning to love myself in the aftermath of love lost. Sometimes I catch a glimpse of him in a crowd or in a passing stranger's smile, and for a fleeting moment, the past and present collide in a swirl of emotion. Those moments are like sparks, brief flashes that remind me how deeply we touched each other's lives, even if only for a time. I don't regret the love we had, even with all its pain and loss. It was real, raw, and it changed me irrevocably. Sometimes I wonder if he's telling his story somewhere, trying to make sense of us, just like I am, weaving memories into meaning. Our love was a fire that blazed and burned out, leaving behind ashes that still warm the heart if you hold them close enough. I carry those ashes carefully, honoring the past while making room for what's next, uncertain but hopeful. Love, I've learned, is never really lost. It changes form, transforms, and lives on in the spaces it once filled. The hardest part is learning to live with absence, to find peace in the silence that follows the storm. There's a strange comfort in knowing that even though we're apart, the love we shared shaped us forever. I find myself writing poems and songs, trying to capture the intangible, the ache, the beauty, the complexity of love's end. Each word is a small step toward understanding, a way to give shape to feelings too big for silence. I've realized that healing isn't linear. Some days I feel whole, others broken, but every feeling is valid and part of the process. The nights I spent crying alone taught me strength I didn't know I had, resilience born from heartbreak that slowly mended me. Sometimes I still hold onto the hope that fate might bring us back together, but I also know that sometimes love's greatest act is letting go. I've learned to cherish the memories without being trapped by them, to carry the love without being weighed down by loss. Life moves forward, and so must I, though the path is sometimes foggy and uncertain. I've started to see that love is not only about possession or permanence, but about the moments that teach us who we are. Every smile, every touch, every shared secret was a thread in the tapestry of my life, coloring it with hues of passion and vulnerability. Even as the love faded, the impact remained, a quiet force shaping my choices and my heart's future. I sometimes wonder what might have been if we had fought harder or communicated better, but those questions can't change what is. Instead, I try to focus on what I've learned about love, loss, and the incredible capacity of the human heart to heal. The love that was lost is not a failure, but a chapter in a much larger story still unfolding. And though it hurts, I am grateful for the joy, the pain, and the growth that came from loving so deeply. Sometimes, in the quiet, I whisper a thank you to the universe for the chance to have loved at all, even if it didn't last forever. Because love, even lost love, is a reminder that we are alive, capable of connection, and worthy of being known. And so, with a heart both heavy and hopeful, I keep moving forward, carrying the love that was lost like a secret light, guiding me through the darkness. There's a strange beauty in this journey, a mix of sorrow and strength, endings and beginnings, loss and discovery. I don't know where the road will lead, but I'm learning to trust the path and the lessons it brings. Sometimes love is a story without a neat ending, but that doesn't make it any less real or important. It's the imperfect, unfinished stories that often teach us the most about ourselves and what it means to truly live. And as I write these words, sharing my story, I realize that love's loss is also a kind of freedom, a chance to rediscover who I am beyond us. It's messy and painful, but also beautiful, because it means I dared to open my heart, to risk everything for a chance at something real. And maybe that's the greatest love of all, the courage to love fully, even when the outcome is uncertain. So here I am, telling this story not as a closure, but as a moment in an ongoing journey, with all its twists, turns, and raw, honest feelings. The love that was lost isn't gone. It's part of me now, woven into my very soul, shaping the way I love and live from here on out. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough for now, to hold on to the love that was, as I step forward into whatever comes next.